Welcome back. President Trump's newest ambassador to NATO is Des Moines native Matthew Whitaker. Now, Whitaker has had an extensive legal and political career, including acting attorney general in the first Trump administration. Ambassador Whitaker joining us live today with an update for Iowans on what could be considered a significant milestone in the war between Ukraine and Russia. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's hop in here. The U.S. is sending and selling weapons to NATO allies that will then be provided to Ukraine. Why is this important for this moment in the war?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's good to be with you, and it's good to be with a channel that I grew up watching, and to come back and be able to have a few minutes to chat about these important things. First, the arms sales to our European NATO allies that are then going to be provided to Ukraine, make sure that those weapons don't run out. Obviously, the United States of America makes the most sophisticated weapons and armaments on the planet. Ukraine and their armed forces likes having those weapons. It allows them to defend themselves from the Russian onslaught. And at the same time, I think President Trump has been pretty clear that this war in Ukraine is not going to be settled on the battlefield. Ultimately, it's got to be negotiated, and there needs to be peace. And so I'm hoping that by the United States leaning in, selling our weapons to our NATO allies, that will lead the Russians back to the negotiating table and actually get to a ceasefire here. I know Steve Witkoff, who's the special envoy for President Trump, is in Moscow this weekend, and I'm hoping he can have a breakthrough.
And you see this as a financial opportunity for the U.S. Why? And then how much compensation will the U.S. receive?
Yeah, well, obviously it's going to be the value of the weapons that we're selling to our NATO allies that are then being provided to Ukraine. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a windfall. I think what it is it just takes the burden off the backs of the American taxpayer, who, by some accounting, is in for hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine in this war. And I think one of President Trump's main themes is why we got 5% of GDP agreement to spend on defense from our NATO allies at NATO. It's to equalize. Europe are rich, powerful, strong countries, and they need to start spending on their own defense and on the collective defense. And so, I think this moment in time is a chance for Europe to really step up, to invest in the long-term security of the European continent, where I am right now in Brussels, Belgium, and at the same time be a great partner and ally, because the United States is strong. Obviously, we're unmatched in our strength, especially in our military and our economy. But Europe has the potential, now that they're investing, now that they're building up their militaries, to really join us and make the strongest alliance that's ever been on the face of the planet.
Now, on Tuesday, President Trump gave Russia 10 days to reach a ceasefire with Ukraine. What do you think the likelihood is that will happen? I mean, I know you work closely with the president. Is there any patience lost, or is he starting to lose any patience with Putin?
Yeah, I think President Trump has become increasingly frustrated with President Putin and the Russians. They on the one hand, talk about wanting to end the war and wanting a ceasefire and ultimately an enduring peace. And then overnight, they send hundreds of Shahed drones and ballistic missiles into not military targets, but into population centers like Kyiv and Odessa and other cities in Ukraine. And so, President Trump clearly wants this war to end. He's already brought an end to the Thailand-Cambodia war. He brought the 12-day war with Iran. He brought to an end. He ended the war between India and Pakistan. And so, President Trump is a peacemaker, and obviously this has been increasingly frustrated. And so he thinks that by providing U.S. weapons paid for by our NATO allies, that will create the environment. And you're already seeing with Ambassador Witkoff in Moscow this weekend that is maybe going to bear some fruit. But at the end of the day, we really are going to need both sides to agree to a deal and to just end the killing. We're thousands of soldiers every week are dying on the battlefield, and hundreds of citizens, ordinary people in Ukraine are being killed and injured in these overnight attacks. So it just needs to end.
We appreciate your insight on that. I want to bring it back home to Iowa because obviously we here at WHO 13, we're in Des Moines. In 2014, you made a run for senator. Obviously, Governor Kim Reynolds is not seeking re-election. Are you giving any consideration to coming back to Iowa and campaigning for one of those positions anytime soon, or maybe one day?
Well, I mean, I'm still, carry my Iowa driver's license. I'm a proud Iowan and a proud Hawkeye, and I've had a lot of chances in the past. I have a heart for public service. I'm enjoying this job here in Brussels as the U.S. ambassador to NATO, and so I have nothing to announce this morning on your show, and I don't plan to have anything to announce anytime soon. But I really love my home state. I'm looking forward to getting back this fall for some football games. I'm going to see the Iowa State Cyclones in Dublin at the end of August, and so I'm excited about going to that game as well. But right now, I don't have any immediate plans or announcements to make this morning.
All right, we'll keep an eye out. And a Hawkeye watching the Cyclones, that's interesting right there. Appreciate
all my friends are Cyclones, so it's
oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.